Council Public Forum. The Public Forum is an opportunity to share your views on any issues on the Council meeting agenda and on other general matters that are important to you. It provides an opportunity for councillors to hear directly from the community, understand the needs and concerns of constituents, and make more informed decisions. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here this evening. Before we begin, I'd like to outline a few procedures in relation to this evening's public forum. I want to remind everyone that this is a public forum and we must all be respectful of each other. I remind councillors of their oath or affirmation of office made under section 233A of the Act and printed at the front of the business paper. All attendees must comply with the Code of Meeting Practice and other relevant council codes, policies and procedures. This meeting is being recorded and the webcast will be published to Council's website. Councillors, council staff and speakers will be shown on camera. Attendees must refrain from engaging in disorderly conduct, publicly alleging breaches of the Council's Code of Conduct or making other potentially defamatory statements. Any statements made and actions taken by individuals are those of the individuals making them and are not endorsed or supported by Council. Councillors, council staff and members of the public must ensure that mobile phones are turned to silent during the forum. Councillors and council staff must declare and manage any conflicts of interest that they may have about any item of business that is on the agenda this evening. A few reminders for our speakers this evening. Speakers cannot use or present any props, audio or visual material. Any written material must be lodged when registering or handed to staff. Each speaker has 3 minutes to address council. A chime will sound when you have 30 seconds left to speak. If you have a lot to say, I encourage you to submit a written submission. Each councillor may ask a maximum of 2 questions. Speakers are under no obligation to answer, but if you do, please limit it to 1 minute. Speakers cannot ask questions of councillors or council staff. Are there any conflict of interest declarations for councillors? Can we just check online? We have one councillor online, Councillor Pettit. Okay, that looks like that may be a no. Okay, we have a number of items on the agenda this evening, so I'll start with our first speaker. So we have Janet Harwood, and the item is GB8, Analysis of Land and Environment Court Costs, third quarter 2024 to 2025, and I believe Janet is speaking for. Now, Janet, because you have another item afterwards, would you just mind remaining at the lectern and maybe giving a couple of moments pause so councillors
Thank you, Mayor.
can ask questions if they need to. Thank you. When you're ready.
Madam Mayor, councillors, ladies and gentlemen, the best thing that happened to this local government area was that 8 councillors were re-elected. And that is a great advantage for this council. The eco-literacy project that I am presenting, and I had to wait for the election to be able to present it to the federal government, is a project that cannot be done by another local government area. It is absolutely suited to this local government area. This report, the Land and Environment Court Costs, says there are 3 factors that influence high court costs. But councillors and communities should know court costs come from fighting inappropriate protection. incorrect assumptions, and lack of local knowledge. The real cause of court costs are people fighting, number one, wrong rezoning of this local government area of double significance, built and environmental, because the LEP 2015 was planned according to a standard template, and everything is not properly protected. Plus, this LEP was cumulatively added to previous LEPs, the overdevelopment received in 2004 and 2012. Secondly, there are huge consultant report costs, and nobody knows how much has been paid totally by ratepayers to justify that wrong rezoning. So that's very important. Third, there are multiple development pathways and types of development. There are LEPs, planning proposals coming from somewhere else, planning agreements, such as one tonight, state significant development where councils and locals have nothing, cannot object, and zombie DAs that keep getting resurrected. No wonder we pay millions in court cases. So wrong rezoning, is that 3 minutes?
Yes, that is 3 minutes.
I'll have to send it to you in writing.
Okay, no, that's fine. Are there any questions for Janet Harwood before I get you to speak on GB9, which is the letter of offer to enter into a planning agreement, Rahini Village, Turramurra? So Janet is the first of 3 speakers that we have on that item, and I believe Janice is speaking against.
This is a good example of one of many pathways to development. And it's a good example of conflict of interest between users and protectors. Protection is denied, overall protection, but use by cumulative overdevelopment is allowed. It's not checked. Opportunity to update and protect the system by master planning all of Turramurra's 5 precincts has not been taken up yet. Just before the September elections, recommendation to councillors for a massive planning proposal on the other side of the highway was adopted, but that proposal took a lot of public land. A few months later, now, this offer to amend LEP 2015 ignores 5 other precincts in Turramurra, each one over-rezoned for huge development in the one suburb. Each precinct has public land of rare value, which the public has tried to protect since 2006. Who will tell the councillors that this weak proposal for a few pathways is nothing compared to the ecological assets lost in Turramurra since 2004? Councillors are congratulated for trying to stop the loss of public land in St. Leonard's, but Ku-ring-gai has had huge loss of protected soils, seed bank, and fungi, but without any offset for that loss. Since planning departments have ignored this loss for 20 years, and conflict of interest between use and protection has been denied for 15 years since the Environment Advisory Group was disbanded, an appeal must be made to federal government to protect this local government area's critical biological infrastructure by advanced landscape conservation to avoid baseline shift. Is that it? I'll put a few more
You've got
seconds.
9 seconds.
So these advanced landscape conservation, baseline shift avoidance, and protecting critical biological infrastructure are new concepts to deal with in-isolation planning, which is causing a huge cumulative loss. And a master plan for destination Ku-ring-gai with a transition town and eco-literacy hub is the only way to protect the local government area's double significance, which is now being attacked by dual occupancy, low and mid-rise, and transport or orientated development on top of LAP 2015. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Councillor Taylor has a question.
Thank you,
for
Janet, for coming along and speaking again this month. You spoke in quite general terms, but I understand that you're against council entering into a planning agreement with Anglicare for this Rahini village site. What are your specific concerns about the planning agreement for this development?
If you were to add all the 5 precincts in Tarahumara together, the way they are zoned now, Tarahumara would be bigger than Hornsby. So just by looking at this one precinct or area, we're not actually, it is not ecologically sustainable development in that particular suburb, because there are the last remnants of blue gum high forest abutting these precincts. And so the whole of this suburb of 5 or 6 precincts needs to be master planned. That's the transition town that I've been proposing.
Thank you, Janet. Our next speaker on GB9 is Shane Jiha, who will be speaking for, representing Anglicare. It's got noted here as a paid advisor.
Madam Mayor, councillors, Shane Jiha is my name, and I am speaking for the proposal in favour of creating this planning agreement between Anglicare and the council. The site is an exceptional site for this facility. It is a brownfield site already. It already contains substantial units for the provision of aged care, 110 independent living units, and they're aged. So what we're doing is we're replacing them with new facilities. So we're replacing 110 units with 110 units. It really is a very low impact proposal. It adjoins the train station. It has excellent credentials in every sense. The new design is magnificent in my view and very well thought through. And the new facilities will not only add to the local community substantially, but as you will come to know shortly, we are proposing of our own volition to create additional items of public benefit. They include the creation of Rohini Walk. These don't exist, by the way, at the moment. The upgrade of the northern end of Rohini Street with a turning head. We are upgrading the Rohini Street footpath. We are upgrading the footpath from Cherry Street all the way to King Street, and we're creating great public domain upgrades. All these will be done as the project gets upgraded, and I think they'll be of excellent and substantial benefits to not only this excellent facility and this wonderful aged care provider, but also to the wider community who will definitely use them and enjoy them. I commend them to you. My landscape architect, our landscape architect, Ross Shepherd, a man of substantial note in this discipline, will come and speak to you about the specific benefits that come from each of these upgrades. There's only one cautionary note I'd like to make, is the current offer that we have contains a note that says that the letter of offer suspends the application of sections 711 and 712. Whilst I have no specific objection to this, I just would like to caution that it is unlawful to suspend these sections when there is a ministerial direction saying that they're not able to be suspended. But that's something I'm sure we can work through with the Council during the negotiation. Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Shane. Any questions? Councillor Balachandran?
Thank you very much for coming. What is why are you doing this? Why is there an intent to build public walkways through private aged care, seniors living facility?
Well, essentially the site's very old. It was designed in an ancient era. The connections for pedestrians are not very good. And what we've done is we've created through fair links, we've created better footpaths. There's a horrible entry to the site. These are all just historical errors that were not errors at the time. But we are now upgrading the entire facility for hundreds of millions of dollars, and we think this is a fantastic thing to do because it's of great public benefit.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other councillors with questions? Okay, doesn't look like it. Thanks, Shane.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Diana Ray-Juha. Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, Ross Shepherd, was it? Okay. Are you from EG Property Advisory?
I am a consultant.
Okay. All right. No worries. Thank you. Whenever you're ready.
For the proposal. And just further what Shane says, I think the initiative, the Raheny Walk, was a completely an initiative from Anglicare. And if you go to Gordon Quarter or even the Castle Hill, there's an open door policy to the community to use the site. So it's not, it's a very inviting and it's a very community-oriented proposal. And it is going to activate the site and create surveillance. And it is very much to fulfil a walk link, which currently is through a long dog leg, which is very dangerous and narrow and low amenity. So it's completely to the public benefit. The other aspect of that is at the end of Raheny Street, there's currently a complete dead end, and it is the main street parallel to the railway. So the benefit it offers is that it's just a common sense approach again, where if we can provide a turning head, it can only be provided with the cooperation of this site. So it's being provided, again, as a common sense solution to providing amenity to terminate the road. Equally, the upgrading of the footpath it's irregular at the moment. There is a public domain manual and precinct plan. We're just fulfilling that and making our contribution to that. Equally, at the other end of Raheny Walk is the dogleg, so-called dogleg walkway, but if you know the area, it actually goes from Cherry Street through to the end of our site. There's also a driveway link that goes down to King Street, which is really just a dilapidated old driveway, but it's actually public access lands. And the PP includes a proposal, or the proposals include upgrading that as part of public domain drawings that we prepared that Council has agreed are suitable. So I think overall it's a really a high level of care that Anglicare is offering, above and beyond, and without invitation from Council. All of these initiatives were offered off their own bat, and I can say it's a very rare proposal that I've been involved in, and we're very committed to supporting Anglicare because I think it's a really noble and wonderful proposal. Just going to make a concluding comment about the adjoining the site. There is some blue gum high forest. Equally, Anglicare, it's on an embankment down to an existing driveway, so it's completely self-contained on our site and just overlapping onto the railway lands. And it is being protected, it's being enhanced, and that is by virtue of the initiative of Anglicare again. So there is no risk to that whatsoever, except potentially by the cycleway which Council is proposing to upgrade. Alrighty, thank you very much.
If you could just hold there, I have Councillor Matt Devlin has a question for you. Ross?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Ross. Thanks for your words. I recall you, albeit I was sitting in a different seat in the public gallery when you came and spoke to this matter prior to Council being dissolved before last year's election. So thanks for coming back. I recall your words at that time. I've got two questions. One, you just alluded to the laneway along or adjacent to the railway land. That's not shown in any of the documentation as being treated. You've just made mention that it is to be treated as a part of these works. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Sure. So Council approached Anglicare on the basis of a neighbour advisory of proposed works, and those works were to change the current lawn and I think it's about 1,200 wide or 1,400 wide concrete pathway to be a full, I think it's 2.5 wide shareway, and so those notifications were sent to us, and I examined those in close detail and found conflicts which were actually indicating removal of trees on our land. So we wrote back with complaints saying that that was not acceptable. I don't believe we've received an acceptable answer to that, but I think that we did get a reply to say we are investigating it and we will keep you informed. So I believe that's at least notification that it's being considered, yeah.
Okay, thanks very much. And my second question was just with relation to the public domain improvement opportunity for Cherry Street, the upgraded footpath. I know there's quite significant trees lining both sides of that section of the road. Any impact to those trees?
I've walked that area a lot. I've examined all the drawings and I haven't seen a conflict with any trees along the walkway. I do know that they encroach onto the sides of the walk. It is very narrow. If you were riding a bike and passing a pedestrian, there would be trouble, as in conflict. My understanding is I think we're within the constraints. We're offering to repave and to fix that, but we're certainly not. We're not proposing. We will consider any tree impacts, and we will adjust the works with either elevated or porous paving, and it will be some interesting detailing because we have to be aware of future, potential deflection and things. But I take it on notice that we'll consider it to make sure that no trees are impacted by those works, and it would be done for council. It's not our land, so it would be to the approval of council.
Thanks, Mr. Shepherd. Cheers.
Good.
Thank you. Councillor Kim Wheatley.
Hi, Ross.
Hi.
Just following on from Councillor Devlin's question in regards to the public domain improvement opportunity, it's listed that there are common types of works in this area. Can you list what some of these works are other than the trees? Because it doesn't specifically state what these common works are.
Common, as in the laneway or in?
Right, it says in the public domain development site are common types of works in kind.
Oh, I think it's referring to, most development proposals have a footpath.
Yep.
It happens that we're a bigger
So
development.
it's only a footpath.
No, look, actually, I can elaborate. So the turning head and the road reserve is obviously not our land.
Correct.
So there is a proposition that there, in order to facilitate the footpath and a landscape margin to that the landscape margin would remain under our control. It might even be potentially dedicated, but I think the proposition is that we cooperate with our landscape margins to our site to allow the footpath to come up to our boundary, and that the grassy verge around a normal footpath is retained in the proposals. I'm just saying that a dead-end road is a dead-end road. Cannot be a turning head on that within the property of the road reserve. So we're assisting that. It would normally a footpath is set away from the adjoining boundaries and right up against or close to the curb line, and we are helping to facilitate in the plans. They're design plans in CAD. They haven't been civil engineered. It is council's land to cooperate with us and facilitate the turning head, but we are offering to cooperate with them as an initiative of a concept proposal, which is a planning proposal, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ross.
Okay.
Our next items are general business. So these are items not on the agenda. The first person to speak here is Janet Harwood. The topic is Get Off Our Worksite. It's a council tree. How rezoning for development is causing Ku-ring-gai significant tree loss.
Can I very quickly, before you start timing me, say that about 15 years ago, because I can't help myself with trees, I photographed seedlings taller than myself on Cherry Street, and I mistakenly put it in a submission. The next thing was 20 of those seedlings were all pulled out, and this massive construction has been put on the corner of Cherry Street, and so that's the evidence of soil and seed bank and vegetation being lost due to rezoning.
Okay, Janet, you can put that in writing to an email to us if you'd like to reference that. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
And if we can just reset, and the 3 minutes will start now.
Thank you. When a significant protected tree was removed on Catalpa Crescent, the current councillor was not informed. The loophole was the previous councillor had authorised the removal, so authorisation from the current councillor was not needed. This same loophole, that we don't have to tell the current minister that the Hillview public land is being taken or sold or going to be sold because a previous minister approved the plans. Anyway, the catalpa tree, when all of one woman, that's me, went to reason with the tree removers of this protected tree, the response was, get off our worksite, it's a council tree. And they called the police for one woman. Anyway, I come from a police family, and we, the police and I, could see that this was a theft of a significant public asset in plain sight. The aggressive arrogance showed entitlement to take that tree. This indicated something was not right. Not only was it a council work order, but these words echoed a previous aggressive response to me. I am not here to help you. Yet, I had been repeatedly told by state planning, go to council for help. Repeated lack of protection indicates nothing is really protected. Laws are not protecting the environment. Even ecological communities listed in laws are not protected, as this tree and many other trees show. Certainly, volunteers trying to protect are not protected, but they are aggressively blocked and intimidated. Protection is the new business. To stop this license to kill trees, insects, wildlife, because these are assets that belong not to us, but to the future. And this book, I'm not allowed to show you a prop, but this is something that I didn't know. It's the shocking scale of licensed wildlife killing in Australia. That book.
Okay, thank you, Janet. Now, a councillor just has a question for you.
Janet,
Councillor Matt Devlin has a question.
thank you for speaking on this topic. I note that at the beginning of your words on this, you referred to councillors providing approval for a tree to be felled, and noted that current councillor had not provided approval, but a previous councillor had. Are you able to clarify and maybe correct the record with your understanding that councillors are not involved in the decision-making process around trees being removed?
Is that right? Sorry, I thought councillors had to approve tree removals. Well, that's a bit of a problem.
With respect, Janet, I do note that I'd sought further advice from the Operations Directorate on this particular matter when you rang me at
Yes,
that occasion. Are you able to confirm that you received that correspondence with relation to what occurred leading into that tree being felled?
Did I receive any correspondence? I haven't received any correspondence, no.
Well, I'll go back and reissue it, but I just want to clarify that I
But
did get to
that's
the
a
bottom of
real
that for you.
problem. Councillors are not able to authorize protected trees being removed in their wards. I mean, how do we stop it then?
Okay, thank you, Janet. Our next speaker is Lara Bishko, who is representing Stanhope Road residents, has also done a written submission and will be speaking on proposed development in Stanhope Road, Killara. Thanks, Lara.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, councillors, staff and public. I appreciate and applaud Ku-ring-gai Council's efforts to propose an alternative to the TOD program by seeking extensive consultation with the community and offering a preferred housing scenario between Roseville and Gordon. It would be good to know the status of that preferred housing model. In the meantime, there are a growing number of proposed developments which are being lodged with the State's Significant Development Framework, which are of real concern to the community. I, together with a large number of Killara residents, are opposing the development proposed at 1014 Stanhope Road on a number of grounds. One, the development is of an outsized scale compared to the surrounding homes. To my knowledge, there is nothing above a 5-level apartment anywhere in Killara at the present time. At 36 metres, this development would destroy residents' amenity in all directions. Two, the development will have a significant impact on the environment and biodiversity of the area. The grey-headed flying fox and the glossy black cockatoo, both of which are endangered species, are found in our area. The increased height to 36 metres would have a material impact on the habitat and that supports these animals and other biodiversity aspects. Three, the development would have a disruptive impact on the traffic flow. The 195 car spaces within the proposed 135 unit block can only have a negative impact on an already at capacity traffic levels along Stanhope Road and the Pacific Highway. 4, the development is a violation of the heritage of Stanhope Road, which sits within a heritage conservation area. Preservation of heritage listed properties should be treated with care, respect and integrity, and not by creating islands of heritage homes surrounded by high-rise developments. The addition of 135 units, only a small number of which would be allocated to be affordable housing, seems to be used as a smokescreen to justify a development of this massive scale. 5, the development does not appear to take into account the impact on surrounding amenities. How are Killara High School, the local primary schools, and childcare centres expected to cope with the increased population? Teachers are at capacity and without additional resources will have a negative impact on their mental health, well-being and ability to provide education to the standard which our children deserve. Other amenities such as the ability to access medical services will also impacted. So I implore Council to lodge an objection with the SSD on this proposed development before the 3rd of June for these reasons and on the basis that it is contrary to Council's own preferred housing scenario. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lara. We have one question from Councillor Alec Taylor.
Thank you, Lara, for coming and speaking on this incredibly important subject for Ku-ring-gai. This is not isolated. My question for you is, are you aware that I believe this is a state significant development, that the consent authority is likely to be the minister, that council will make a submission, but that submission will be assessed against the original Todd legislation and ignore any proposed plans from council?
I'm aware of that, but I'm still imploring that council do their best to object, and as residents we're doing our best to try and get at least 50 individual objectors.
Fantastic.
Do we have council's support?
Thank you. You certainly have my support, and I believe most of the councillors' support as well. We're behind you 100%. I guess one final question. Would you be willing to jeopardise or risk our plans in order to stop this development and all of the other developments across Lower Ku-ring-gai?
You don't have to answer that question.
It's a complicated question. And I mean it in the nicest possible way. I greatly appreciate you coming and speaking and raising this issue today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have another question from Councillor Indu Balachandra. Thank you, Alec.
Thanks, Lara. I think it was very clear where you were coming from, and thank you for speaking on this. It is a significant concern in the community. The question I have for you is really, I suppose, as a councillor of the ward, but also as a councillor sitting around this table, is what is your sense of, and it's really your perspective, you don't need to evidence this, but what is your sense of the level of awareness in the community of the scale and volume of the SSDAs that are trying to get into this transitional period?
I think we're very aware of the number. There seems to be a growing number all the time, and we're concerned that there's going to be more that will be approved without before your proposed scenario gets approved.
I'm just trying to get a sense of, how universal the understanding is across these 4 stations, particularly of the level of activity going on. So just your perspective. Thank you.
Yeah. At least in Stanhope Road, we're aware.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lara.
Okay.
That's it.
Thanks for your time.
Sorry, Councillor Ward, I didn't see.
It's okay, Madam Mayor, thank you. Lara, just a follow-on question. You've asked for the councillors' support there. How realistic are the residents in that they realise that, a lot of this is out of our control?
Well, my understanding is that if council lodge an objection and that we have 50 individual objections, lodge an objection to the SSD, then it would go to the Independent Planning Commission, which I guess fingers crossed that gives us a better chance of at least buying some time before the preferred scenario is implemented.
I don't normally, but I might ask the relevant director just to clarify that if they could. Michael?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That was unfortunately the original understanding based on incorrect information contained within the guidelines that relate to state significant development. The true position is that essentially for these types of developments, so basically for affordable units, essentially the only basis upon which the Minister isn't the consent authority would be an instance where the developer discloses a political donation. Essentially, that is the only exception. And if that were to be the case, then the matter would be dealt with by the Independent Planning Commission. However, if that is not the case, then the consent authority is the minister, and more likely the minister's delegate to deal with the
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Lara.
Thanks.
Our next speaker is David Green, who is representing about a better outcome under Todd. And the subject matter is heritage homes affected by the new proposed housing scenario 3B. And I believe the councillors have some information in front of them that's been provided from David today. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Lord Mayor and councillors and ladies and gentlemen. I've spoken to you before. I'm a heritage owner in Robert Street, HCA 39. And what I am coming to speak to you about is two sets of correspondence that have been sent to council. One of them is a letter that was from About, which is a better outcome under Todd, which is a association of 85 heritage owners in Ku-ring-gai, and then a follow-on letter by myself on the 30th of April in support of that. So what I'd like to speak to is those pieces of correspondence, and basically what I'm asking council to do is to finish the job by updating the heritage overlay in the LEP and not avoid the hard work that needs to be done. So in this chamber, we had a question and answer session from the councillors to the Honourable Andrew Watson, who was our planning manager, and he said that it wasn't easy to do things around heritage and that he had to work around it. The council put on a drop-in session recently with the planners, and that drop-in session confirmed that heritage was not a consideration. Furthermore, it was confirmed that council's heritage team has refused to prioritize or differentiate listings, resulting in a rigid and blanket approach that contradicts both New South Wales heritage guidance as well as community expectations. So what I'm asking very simply is for heritage council to instruct their planning department and the heritage people to reassess a limited number of properties that are affected by rezoning. This is within the scale and the resources of this body, because in the case of HCA 39, which I'm part of, it's a maximum of 2 properties. So it can't be that you don't have the resources. What I guess we're asking for in the 1 minute left, if I can use a commuter example, is that if you bike to work every day, and then one day the metro arrived at the bottom of your street, then you would do a reassessment of, do I bike every day? Or should I only bike on sunny days and I'll take the metro when it rains? Or do I sell my bike and use the metro all the time? The key point of that story is you did a reassessment. I don't care what the decision is. You might sell the bike, you might keep the bike, you might take the metro, you might not. But you reassessed what happened. And that's because the situation changed, and that's exactly what we're asking for here. State government has put something on to council. Council has reacted the best way they could, but both of those changes are causing rezoning, and as a result, we're asking that council does 4 things. 1, lead a strategic reassessment of only those properties that are affected by the rezoning, so it's not a lot of work. Secondly, council leads this. It shouldn't fall on me, the homeowner, to have to do this, but I will be costing myself $10,000 to file the paperwork. Engage in a meaningful dialogue with the heritage property owners. I think you'd find in that discussion, you'd be able to prioritize your heritage properties and then report back to council whether any changes should be made. It's a very simple request. It's good governance, but most importantly, it's common sense. Thank you, Mayor.
I think that if you just remain there for 1 moment, I've got a couple of councillors with questions. I will start with Councillor Sam Nye.
Thank you, David, for coming to speak on behalf of many residents. So in the About submission, I noticed that there were references to 2 court cases, being Scott and Woollahra Council 2017 New South Wales Land and Environment Court, Judgment number 81, and Millers Point Community Association Inc. and Property New South Wales 2015 New South Wales Land and Environment Court, Judgment number 51. After this council meeting, can you please send to the councillors links to these 2 court cases, plus references to which paragraph numbers are used to support your argument? Thank you.
No worries, but also on the back of the little crib sheet I've given you is a reference, but I can send you the links.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Alec Taylor, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, David, for coming along. This is a vitally important subject and it's one that many councillors are aware of and are working on hard. And we have attempted to address many of these issues in our plans. My question for you is, are you aware that legally listing and delisting heritage listed houses must be based on the heritage merits of that house, and that the Todd legislation and our subsequent plans are not changing the heritage merits of these individually listed houses?
So are you aware of the fact that on page 4 and on page 7 of that same heritage manual that you're requesting, context of the heritage item is absolutely premium. And the way to read the manual is that the 11 criteria, or the criteria that are on page 11 of that manual, are actually precursored to what is written on page 4 and on page 7, which is the context. So let me give you an example. In my particular case, my bungalow, I listed it myself. It's 1925, same floor plan, same time, year, same builder as my neighbors next door to me. If somebody came and reassessed it on the merits, they would either assume that my merits were good and they would keep it, but they would also list the one next door because it's exactly the same merits. Or they would say, well, my merits weren't so good, and they would delist it. That's what I'm asking council to do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just reminding you, David, councillors don't answer questions from the speakers.
Oh, that's okay.
So-
But when my question was rhetorical on anything.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Thank you. Okay, no other questions? Okay, so thank you to everyone for participating in tonight's public forum. The webcast of this forum will be published to Council's website tomorrow. The Council meeting will be held at 7 p.m. next Tuesday, and you are encouraged to attend in person or view the live web stream via the Council website. I encourage you to continue to stay engaged with Council and share your feedback. Thank you again for your participation. I declare the meeting closed at 7:47. Thank you.